Yeah. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful day. Great day. Episode 35 of Free Game. Um, Before we even get into it, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Please do that. And let's get started. Shall we? Shall we get started? I told you. Let me take my shades off so y'all can see me. I told y'all so. Okay? I told y'all so. I told you that they weren't going to leave the SEC runner-up out of the playoff. Did I not say that? I did say that. Didn't matter. Okay? Didn't matter that we got blasted by Georgia, because we did. We got absolutely throttled by Georgia. Okay? That doesn't matter. Like I said, we could have got beat by 50. And they didn't drop us a spot. Why? Because it's what they said in their criteria. Okay? Now listen. If this was a beauty contest, okay, and we're just going to take the 12 best teams that look good, their last 5 or 6 games, then yeah, Alabama would be out. If this was a popularity contest and you're just going to base it off of, well, if you get blown out of your conference championship game, then yeah, Alabama would be out. But we're not. And guess what? We play Oklahoma. Now, trust me, I don't want to see Georgia again. I tell you that much. But I definitely want to see Oklahoma again, because so many things went wrong in that game that were obviously avoidable. But it is what it is. They beat us in the regular season. Kudos to them. But we got it again. We got them again. In Norman. Love it. Okay? I think we're favored by 1.5. Don't know how. Don't ask me. But, guys, don't hate the player. Hate the game. Okay? Don't hate Alabama. Don't hate Alabama fans because we got picked. Because last year, we didn't get picked in. SMU got in. Remember that whole debacle? That happened? So here we are, getting ready for a great game against Oklahoma. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at the playoff rankings today, because not the rankings, but the college football playoff bracket is officially out. Let's go. JMU got the 12th spot. They're playing Oregon. Obviously, Alabama, Oklahoma. You got Tulane playing Ole Miss. Okay, in Oxford. That's going to be a great environment, great game. And then Miami plays Texas A&M. And the biggest thing here, right, is, does Miami deserve a spot over Notre Dame? Okay, that was a big talking point the whole last night and this morning. It's between Notre Dame, Miami, and Alabama to get 2 spots. Who's going to get it? Well, everybody tried their best. They tried their best to say, well, Alabama, they didn't look good in the SEC championship. And we didn't. You're right. But then you look at the statistics, you look at our strength of schedule, you look at our opponents that we've beaten, and you look at the FPI, we're ranked in top 10 in everything. Everything. So Alabama's going to be in regardless. Okay? I told you guys that before. You guys tried to argue with me. Everybody tried to argue with me, saying there's no way if they lose, they're going to put a 3-loss Alabama team. If they lose, they better keep it close. They better keep it close within at least 1 score, or they're going to get kicked out. Now what? Okay? Now what? We're in now. Between Miami and Notre Dame, I honestly think they got it right. I hate to say it. Sorry, Notre Dame. Join a conference. I hate, people hate when people say that. I'm that guy. Okay? I am that guy. Join a conference. This wouldn't happen. Why don't you just go to the ACC? How about that? You look at their champion. It's an 8-5 Duke team. And it's not even basketball. It's football. That's their ACC champ, and they're not even in. Join the ACC. Schedule harder opponents. That independent shit can only get you so far in this playoff. It's proven. The highest you can get is 5. And this is the reason why you schedule up. You schedule hard. Bama scheduled hard. Oklahoma scheduled hard. Georgia scheduled hard. Even Texas scheduled hard. And they had some points. But now you're here. Sorry about it. Join a conference. That'll defeat this whole purpose. And I don't understand. Me personally, I think the committee was wrong in this. I think the committee putting Notre Dame up over Miami for like 2 weeks straight, and then all of a sudden kicking them out when neither of them have played a game, I think that was mishandled completely on the committee. For sure. Because, in my opinion, head-to-head matters to me. Okay? I don't know how everybody else feels about it. I don't know what analytics you guys want to look at. If you have an argument for anything else, please oblige. I would love to hear it. But if your analytics and your record and your strength of schedule and this and that are like nip and tuck, so close, then if you have a head-to-head, that should trump everything. Who beat who? That's how it should be in the first place, by the way. But who beat who? Okay? Miami beat Notre Dame. Well, that was early in the season. So, it happened. We can't just wipe that away and then go play them again. Do I agree that teams get better later in the season, middle of the season? Of course. Look at Alabama. The Alabama-Florida State game, that's not the same Alabama that it was in the middle of the pack when we were playing Georgia, Vandy, Tennessee, and Missouri. Not even close. So I do agree with you. But we can't take that Florida State loss away. The same way you can't take that Miami-Notre Dame loss away. The game happened. They lost. And the committee is showing you, which they should have showed you earlier, hey, head-to-head is a big component in this. And listen, obviously it's their fault because now it looks like, oh, well, you know, this head-to-head thing ain't too bad. In the last week, the last day, the last hours of the playoff bracket being released, it's just like, okay, we're now going to put Miami on Notre Dame. Listen, I think Notre Dame needs to join a conference. I think they need to join it sooner than later. This independent thing is not going to work out. I'm sorry. Look at BYU. They joined a conference. They had a chance to control their own destiny. They got smacked, by the way. But look, they joined the conference, the Big 12. You can't join the ACC, the Big 12, Big 10. Don't even think about coming down to the SEC. But it will benefit you more than you think if you just join a conference. That's it. That's all. Now, we're going to have some time here before, you know, the playoff actually starts. But I could give some first-round predictions. Obviously, I think James Madison's going to get absolutely smacked by Oregon, and then they'll play Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. Alabama, Oklahoma, I got Alabama. It's going to be a different style of game than it was when we last played them. Even yesterday, we'll have Cuevas back. Hopefully, we'll have LT Overton back. And, I think Jam's going to be out for a while, but we don't have a running game in the first place. Hopefully, God, I hate this. Remember what I said last pod? When is a good time to bench your quarterback in the middle of a game? And during that whole game while I was listening, because I was out all night, just like the whole week, we'll talk about that, by the way. But I'm like, we're not getting in anything offensively. He's not throwing the ball good. He hasn't been throwing the ball good for like 3 or 4 games. Why don't we put in Mac? Why don't we put in Austin Mack and see if we can just get a spark? Because mind you, our only touchdown, Georgia had 2 15-yard penalties. So they pretty much like gave us a touchdown. Other than that, we couldn't do a fucking thing. We couldn't do anything. So, as much as it pains me to say, I'm not to the point where like, okay, we need to just ditch Ty. But once again, if he's struggling against Oklahoma, you're going to have to find another spark. And that might be putting in Austin Mack. It's just something to think about. But onto the other bracket, Tulane, Ole Miss. That's going to be a good environment. I think Ole Miss is going to win. But Tulane's a good football team. And Summerall's still on that team. So that one, I'm not saying nothing. I know Lane's gone. And I know everybody is rooting up Golden and thinking it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he was the guy all along. But just look out for that game. Just look out for it. I'm not saying it's going to be an upset, but it wouldn't surprise me. And then Miami and Texas A&M, which will be either the best game or the second best game. Excuse me. I think this being an A&M raucous environment against a Miami team, A&M really hasn't played nobody either, and we kind of seen it. They lost to Texas, which is their only loss, but struggled against South Carolina. You know? I don't know. I'm going to go with A&M on that one. But once again, that's going to be a really good game. I'll save the other ones for later. We'll see how that round goes, but maybe I'll give a full prediction. Maybe next week or something like that. But all in all, guys, I am so relieved. I will say that. I am relieved that we didn't even drop a spot. I honestly thought we would drop a spot. I didn't think we were going to stay 9th. But I like it. I like it. And if anybody has a problem with it, talk to Notre Dame, Miami. Your problem's not with Bama. Don't even think about comparing us to Bama. That's another thing. The Notre Dame AD went on the Pat McAfee show and said, we're not worried about Miami. We're more worried about Alabama because when you match our resume against their resume, ours is better. And I laughed hard because it isn't. It's not even close. Not even close. And it shows you how they look at you. Good football team. Great football team. But when you're an independent, you can control your own schedule. You can go about it the way you see fit, and you're just weaving along while everybody else is in conference play, grinding it out. You look at that Georgia-Bama game, both teams were beat to shit. Beat to absolute shit. Everybody was hurt. Everybody. I don't know, but your problem's not with us, dog. It's not with us. But I think that is it for the college football playoff. Man, I'm happy. I'm happy. All right, let's go to a little NBA. Some news happened with our buddy Chris Paul. Okay, I think they were on the road going to Atlanta, or they were at Atlanta, and news broke that Chris Paul is being released, sent home, and he will no longer play for the Clippers. And I'm like, what? He just announced his retirement for the, he's going to finish out the season, but he just announced it. Probably one of the greatest Clippers of all time. Why did he get released? And whoever you listen to, whatever insider you listen to, the word is that he just was trying to hold everybody accountable. And I I got a couple sides to this. Just from experience. What's that? Which side should I start with first? Let's start with the side that can just rub people the wrong way. And listen, I'll tell you a story. So it was while I was in college. We were playing Nebraska Westland, okay? And we were getting beat. We weren't the best team, but we were getting beat, and we were going into halftime, and, coach, just said that we weren't playing good, try to give adjustments and this and that. And then one of the freshmen came up, and he was just like, guys, we need to be better. We need to do this. Everything's okay. One play at a time. In that motivational, high up energy. And then he ended it with the cliche football prayer, day by day we get better till we can't be beat, won't be beat. Yeah, that one. In a basketball halftime, he pulled that out. And he said, repeat after me. And meanwhile, after all that was done, first of all, nobody was energized after that. It kind of took the team down. And we're just looking at each other, and I'm just like, that was the most corniest thing. I don't want to play no more. I don't want to play no more. Like, there are certain messages, okay, that makes sense. But it's who says it and how they say it. And I believe in this instance, Chris Paul was just in a room in a time in his career where we don't need that right now. We don't need to be held accountable by a 40-year-old point guard who doesn't play. Yes, you're a legend. Yes, you're going to go down as a top 10 point guard of all time. Yes, you're the greatest Clipper this organization has ever had. But we're in a different space right now. And coming from you, a person who doesn't play, is not out there contributing, why would you give a message like that when you're not doing it yourself? How can you help us? How about that? You got multiple DMPs on your, on your record right now. When you're averaging 5 points a game? And this is your last season? Yeah, we don't care. Bye. We're not winning with you. You're not making an impact. So as a team, I would rather not have this dude in the locker room, in the building, and we're going to stay the same rather than have him bark on us and not change anyway. Simple as that. Now, the other side of it is, well, if it isn't Chris Paul, then who? Because you are a talented roster. Now, you're not good enough to go and win the West, but you have talent. James Harden had a 55-point game. Kawhi's still Kawhi if he's healthy. You got talented bigs. If it's not Chris Paul, then who? Who's going to be the leader? Who is going to step up and hold these people accountable? Now, holding the front office accountable is insane. That is like me going up to my boss at UPS and saying, look, man, we're all struggling. No more packages for today. You want our best effort? No more packages for today. Whatever we have in the truck right now, cut it half. It's never going to work. I would get laughed at. Immediately. So for Chris Paul, I hope that he goes to a team that just, maybe a championship caliber team, but the thing is, why would you want that in your locker room to begin with if you're a championship caliber team? Like OKC, for example. They have everything clicking right now. Everything clicking. Okay? Why would they want to bring Chris Paul and, possibly ruin that chemistry? Because that's one of the most important things, to win an NBA championship. Look at what happened to the Warriors after Draymond punched Jordan Poole in the face. Perfect example. It was awkward. We didn't even know who was going to be gone. It's going to be Draymond. It's going to be Jordan Poole. And that was before the season even started. So you had to live with that dark cloud the whole season, go through playoffs, and eventually it ended. And it was nasty. You don't want any distractions, any dark clouds in your locker room. Trust me. It affects the team. So maybe if I'm Chris Paul, I'd hit up Charlotte. It's his hometown. They're not successful anyway. There goes your goodbye tour. You'll be home with your family. You can do all the jersey swaps. But you need to chill. You need to chill. Okay? These teams, they have different mindsets, especially the Clippers. You played there. You should understand they don't care about winning right now. OKC's got their high draft pick. And Kawhi's not planting trees. That whole Pablo Torre thing. They don't need you barking at them to be better. You're not doing anything. So, I hate to see it for Chris Paul because he is a legend, but hopefully he goes to a team that is okay to, put up with that, or just a bottom feeder team that, just gives Chris a home, sells some tickets for their organization to see Chris Paul's last game. It is what it is. So, but there are some interesting things happening in the NBA as well, guys. Giannis Antetokounmpo is unhappy. Imagine that. But they're discussing his future with the Bucks, and they're discussing whether he should be traded or not. When people say that, they're going to be traded, okay? Now, the most interesting thing here is he already tried to go to New York, okay? New York does have the pieces to give to the Bucks for Giannis. How they do it, I don't know. They got to be smart. But another team that is very, very high on the list for Giannis to land at is the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to tell you right now, I am praying that doesn't happen, okay? I am praying Luka and Giannis do not team up together because A, they're both young, and B, they're both good. Very, very good. So for us to have that happen, especially in the West, if you're a Western Conference fan, that's scary. Now, how they're going to make that fit, I don't know, because Luka's kind of a half-court player, and Giannis is go, go, go. Get it and go off the board and fast break and, every opportunity he can. Play downhill. It'd be interesting to see, but Luka, Giannis, and LeBron, that'll buy LeBron another year or two. He ain't got to do nothing. He's not doing anything now. His double-digit point streak snapped a couple days ago. Where he only scored 8, but he made the right basketball play and they won the game. If they get Giannis, that'd be scary. Now there's another team, Golden State, that might want to, say something about that. I think that fit would be so perfect for the Warriors simply because there are multiple lineups that we can run with Giannis. Giannis can play the 5 and Draymond can play the 4. Excuse me. What else? Giannis can play the, 4 and Draymond can play the 5. Jimmy can play the 4 and Giannis can play the 5. A lot of lineups, a lot of things can happen if Giannis joins Steph and the Warriors. That opens up Steph a lot more. That opens up Jimmy a lot more. And we got pieces to send over. We got Kuminga. We can send over Pods. I want to keep Buddy Hield, but if we can keep Buddy Hield, if we have to send him away for Giannis, get rid of him too. But I think the Knicks, the Lakers, and the Warriors are going to be the top three, in my opinion, for Giannis to go to. New York is a good one, too. If you pair him with Jalen Brunson, if you're able to keep Mikal Bridges, you'll probably have to get rid of Cat. But Giannis for Karl Anthony Towns, I'll take that all day. All day. So, what else do we got? Golly. Guys, I am so under the weather right now because I've been working 70 hours last week. So I'm out in the cold delivering all day. It's terrible. It's terrible. Expect your Christmas presents to be late because we're so backed up right now. So it is what it is, but I do want to get to something that I've been seeing in the comments about Draymond Green versus Robert Horry, Draymond Green versus Kenyon Martin. And listen, I love debate, okay? I absolutely love debate. I love when people are in the comments. I love when people disagree with what I got to say. I love it. That's what this is for, you know? You just have to make a fair point. What's your criteria to disagree with me? If your only comeback is, and I've been getting this a lot, well, he's young. He doesn't understand the era that we grew up in, where it was a lot tougher and we don't flop. Okay, well, let me just address all the old heads out there that disagree with younger people or people younger than them about basketball. I can only use me for an example, okay? The first thing that I touched when I came into this earth was a plush basketball. My dad put a plush basketball in my hand. That was the first thing I touched. Besides my mom's finger, probably, but the first item was a plush basketball. My first introduction to basketball was the Pistol Pete Maravich tapes. You remember those? I had them on VHS. Okay? My cousin's Antonio McDyess. So that whole era I had to pay attention to. I wasn't watching basketball just for fun. I was watching basketball to study because that's what my dad told me to do. Hey, watch Steve Nash do the Steve Nash dribble where he dribbles under the basket to see, if he can find a wide open player to keep the play alive. Hey, watch Reggie Miller and Rip Hamilton how they come off screens. Watch what shoulder they rub off of. Watch how low they are to the ground. Watch their feet when they set their shot. Hey, watch T-Mac's hezzy dribble. Hey, watch Carmelo Anthony's release and how quick it is. Hey, watch Rajon Rondo's playmaking. Ever since I was a young kid, all I know is basketball. Before my wife and kids, basketball was the only thing I loved. Because I had to. It's all I know. So yes, I am able to say, hey, I do agree with you. The 90s, the 80s, the 2000s, yeah, they were tough. Because they didn't have the free-flowing offense. Or you could hand check. But I'm also able to say the era now has more skilled players than they do back then in the 90s and the 2000s. It's not even close. So, if you're going to disagree with me, that's fine. I welcome it. Free game is all open. I hold no comments off. Okay? Anything goes here. Because That's how it's supposed to be. But if your only comeback is that I'm young and I don't know anything, then I can't talk to you. There's no debating with you because your mind's already set, because you already see, he's just a young kid. He doesn't know nothing but this era. He probably thinks James Harden's better than Jordan as a scorer. No, I'm a student of the game. I played the game. I played the game in college. That's the highest level I went, but I played the game. That's not me saying if you play college basketball or NBA basketball that you don't know more than the other person that didn't play. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is I've been ingrained in basketball my whole life. I was forced to know the game. I'm not an expert, but I know what I'm talking about. And I'm able to say that everything that I say, I actually believe. I put this on YouTube. I put this on Apple, Spotify. I put a stamp on it. I'm not a faceless, generic image comment that just can say shit and hide behind that. I'm not hiding. I haven't taken a video down. Now, am I going to say something that I'll come back and say, hey, that I didn't think about? Of course. But if I do stand on something, I mean it. And I'm not just basing it because I'm younger. But, continue to comment. Please, I beg you. I love it. I love going back and forth with people because that's what it's all about. But come with a better criteria than just my age. Because honestly, I think that is just ridiculous. But the free gamer of the week, Kirk Cignetti, man. 13-0 with Indiana. What a season for him. To come back and turn Indiana from just a basketball school to the number one team in the nation, has the biggest win in college football right now. Two of the biggest wins. He knocked off Oregon and Ohio State. And Indiana's Big Ten champ, so you got to give it to Kirk. He's my free gamer of the week. I guess the last thing, I should wait until it gets closer, but New Year's resolutions, guys. I want to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube before the year ends. If not, it's okay. But I guess my New Year's resolution is to continue doing what I'm doing. That's it. Like I said, I love podcasting. I don't do it for numbers. I don't do it for fame. I don't care about that. But I would like to say that, I just love it. And I love you guys for listening. I love you guys for commenting. You guys make my day. And all the editing, all the stuff you guys don't see behind the scenes, I love doing it because, this is what I enjoy. I enjoy talking about sports, boxing, music, top fives, brackets, Alabama football. I love all of it. And where this podcast goes next year, I'm excited for. It can only go up, in my opinion. But I do want to thank, the new listeners, the old listeners, for listening every single week. I'm going to be more consistent. Like I said, I'm being more consistent now. And I guess the year's going to be the same. We're going to have more fun, more content, hopefully more, some guests. But I will say this. I always had a fear of doing this by myself. And I always needed somebody with me. Even from the inception of Free Game, which was March 2nd, 2021. Yeah, I know, 35 episodes, and I've been having it since 2021. A lot has happened, okay? But anyways, my brother was my first co-host. And then I moved to Lincoln, and then Carlos and Coda were my co-hosts. And I would say that era of free game was probably the best times of the pod, the most fun I've had. I think those two together with me added great content, and then we added Jello, which added another wrinkle, and we were doing all that with no mics, and that was during Drake and Kendrick, and I probably had the most fun with that. Had Booby on the pod. It just didn't work out for me, chemistry wise. I still wish him nothing but the best, and I've texted that to him. I felt bad, but this is what podcasting is all about, man. When you have a platform and it's yours, you have to make tough decisions sometimes. And, people can be great podcasters. There's people that I know around in my friend group that would make amazing podcasters. They just won't do it because they have no interest. But when it comes to having a co-host or multiple guests, chemistry is important. And if the chemistry isn't there, you will know. Okay? And I've always had a fear of doing it by myself. And for me to do it this long is a huge milestone for me because I'm the type of person that I need to bounce ideas off of other people. I need to argue and I need to debate and I need to agree, disagree. I've always been that type of person, but by myself, I just always had a fear of like, maybe I'll freeze up. Maybe I'll look stupid. Maybe I will, just not do well. And to people out there who want to podcast or who have a podcast or are just struggling, if you love it, do it by yourself. Try it. Put the reps in. See what other people say about it. Look at your growth when you do it by yourself. But all in all, you have to build up your reputation. You have to build up your muscle memory to be able to become a better podcaster. And from my experience, doing it by myself, I can listen and I can watch and I can see like, okay, I'm getting better and better podcast wise. And eventually, hopefully, if I do have a reoccurring co-host, that's only going to make me better because I've already had the strength and the wherewithal and the reps and the practice to do it by myself. And if I don't have a co-host, guess what? I can always do it by myself, So I think that part really made me a better podcaster is to always count on myself to get content out there, to get episodes out there. And that's what helps me make, consistent episodes, right? So if you have a fear of doing something, especially podcasting, you just got to try it and just build reps, break that fear, because it is hard. Don't get me wrong. It is hard to come in here and just look at a camera and just talk. My wife told me, like, I don't know how you do it for so long, just talking to yourself. And I messaged her, I'm Willie's kid. So, but, yeah, next year's going to be fun. Still going to have, a couple pods this week. This month. And, yeah, more importantly, guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, and commenting. You guys don't know how much that means to me. All the new subscribers, thank you so much. All the people that are listening on Apple, on Spotify, thank you guys so much. Honestly, I take more pride in the audio stuff than I do the YouTube because that's what I listen to, But that is it. What's next week? I don't think we have any college football games next week as far as the playoff goes. Maybe I'll break down some of the bowl games that'll probably get released here soon. I know some of them got released today. And probably all of them today. But that'll be a next week pod. Who knows what's going to happen? A lot of stuff, especially in the NBA. Maybe we get a Giannis decision. Who knows? But Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I want to get to 100 before the end of the month, before the end of the year. I want to get to 100, okay? That'll be a huge, huge accomplishment for me, especially being a solo pod, small pod. I'm a nobody. But if I can get to 100, that'll be great. And if you guys are on Apple, Spotify, thank you so much. If not, please go do that. Go into the YouTube description, and it is right there linked up for you, ready to go. So that is free game. Roll Tide, and I'm out.